Durdle Magic. Thank you for tuning in to Durdle Magic. Please subscribe and hit that notification bell if you like the content you see here today, and leave a like and share the video with someone you might think is interested. Leaving those likes really helps us out, but another way to help us out is by using our TCG Player affiliate link below. If you're looking for singles, sealed product, or gaming accessories, please consider using our link to support the channel. We also have some playmats at inkgaming.com. Go ahead and hit the link in the description to check those out. Alright, let's grab some spells and Durdle with some magic. Hello and welcome back to Durdle Magic. Today we play more of the Zurzoth Chaos Rider. Looking at our opening hand, 3 lands gets us to our commander, Narwhal Frontier Warmonger. We do have Vandal Blast and Blasphemous Act, alternate cost there. I think I'll keep it. Don't have any follow-up on the draw, but Zurzoth might be able to guess into some interesting things. So our commander is a 2-red legendary creature Devil 2/3. Whenever an opponent draws their first card each turn, if it's not their turn, we get a 1/1 red devil creature token with, when it dies, pop 1 damage on something. Whenever one or more devils I control attack one or more players, you and each of those players each draw a card and discard a card. The bottom part seems to be a little bit bugged. We will test it this game and see and split our devils up amongst players, but it hasn't been working that I've been aware. A plane's into play for our first opponent, who is Queen Marchesa. 1 red, white, black for a legendary human assassin, 3/3, death touch and haste. When it enters the battlefield, they become the monarch. At the beginning of your upkeep, if an opponent is the monarch, they get to create a 1/1 black assassin creature token with death touch and haste. So that also means we're going last. Sadness. Our next opponent coming up to on their turn is Pramikon, Sky Rampart. Ooh, piece of candy. Blue, red, white, legendary wall, 1/5. Mana Crypt and an island coming down for them, that's fast. Flying Defender. When it enters the battlefield, choose left or right. Each player may only attack the nearest opponent in the chosen direction or planeswalkers controlled by that opponent. So I guess we won't be testing out Zurzoth all that much unless we can destroy Pramikon. And it can be built a few ways. I actually have a Pramikon Super Friends deck on here. It's not the best, but it's hilarious, at least. Azorius Signet also down to the battlefield for them. So let's see how they're going to play yet another Signet. Nope, just tapping down and passing it off. That works for me. Let's see, that's 4 mana on turn 1. That's pretty good. Our last opponent is Brudiclad, Telcor Engineer. 4 blue-red, recently reprinted, mind you. Creature tokens you control have haste. At the beginning of combat on your turn, create a 2/1 blue mirror artifact creature token. Then you may choose a token you control. If you do, each other token you control becomes a copy of that token, 4/4. Mana Crypt down for them as well. Unfortunately, did not pull one out of my box. Don't know that I'd use it. I'd probably just sell it off. Go ahead and check out the Double Masters unboxing video I did. It's interesting. Fabricate. Alright, they're going to go get an artifact card and reveal it. Let's see what they reveal. Soul Ring. So, lots of ramp today. Our turn, we get Merry Landscape. I guess we'll go ahead and get that down. It's the kind of ramp we have at the moment, and we'll pass it off to Queen Marchesa. Blood Crypt into play, tapped for the Queen Marchesa player. We have the Mana Crypt triggers starting. Let's see who gets bonked more. We do have Vandal Blast in hand, so I'm not terribly worried about it. But it will also depend on how fast we can get to that Vandal Blast and what they play in the meantime. Pramikon gets the bonk for 3. Island into play. They tap down all of their mana, 5 of it, and pass it off to the opponent. Okay. Should I be worried or not? That's the question. I think I'll be worried. Brudiclad not getting the bonk from the crypt. Old school, best school, apparently. Mountain into play. Soul Ring coming down for the Brudiclad player. Slightly embarrassing story. You see this version of Soul Ring over here? I used to have one way back in the day. I did not realize the sun was on bottom there for like ever. I just thought it was like a ring of fire, so yeah, there you go. Sad Robot coming down for Brudiclad, they'll go get a land. The ramping continues. Spinerock Knoll into play for us. Nothing cast turn 2, might as well play the Spinerock Knoll, see what we get off the top to hide away. I feel like I've been misplaying the ability on this a lot, so I'm going to try to do this with a little bit more foresight. We get Mountain, Geary Sanitarium, Tybalt, Rakish Instigator, and Reforge the Soul. So, I don't know if anyone's going to be getting life necessarily. But Tybalt could be interesting. We could get a Devil, but it doesn't do anything initially. Gear Reach Sanitarium might be better. just so we can get our commander to actually do things. So I think I'm going to do Gear Reach, since it's going to get shuffled to the bottom otherwise anyway. Alright, let's pass it off to our opponents. Graven Cairns, I think that's how you pronounce it, into play for the Queen Marchesa player, also recently reprinted. They're still not necessarily like budget friendly, but they are cheaper if you need a filter land for some reason. Specifically, I like the X black ones or the X white ones because a lot of those cards have like white, white, white in their cost or something like that. That makes them more useful in those kind of decks. Off to Pramikon's turn, and we wait. We wait for the bonk. They do not get the bonk. Good for them. Island into play. Soul Ring coming down for Pramikon. This Vandal Blast is going to end up being fairly vicious, isn't it? We have 7 mana. Temporal Mastery, take an extra turn after this one. Okay. I hope it's not one of those kind of decks. Well, let's see if they get the bonk off the Mana Crypt. I kind of hope they do at that point. I'm not a fan of extra turn spells myself. The bonk, the miss, they do not get the 3 damage. Another island into play. Are they mana screwed really badly? Or is this just a white-blue with a splash of red deck? Go check the chat. Yep, no, they're looking for red mana. Pramikon down to 2 cards in hand. We're sitting pretty at 7. The Brudiclad player at 4 cards in hand, and Marchesa at 7. Marchesa and us playing some drop 1 land, and that's it kind of fair magic. Off to Brudiclad's turn, Mana Crypt does the triggering. They do not take the bonk. Brudiclad dodging the bonk ninja. Mountain into play for Brudiclad. So Brudiclad could come down and do stuff, I suppose. Let's see what they do. Yes, he is coming down. He, she, it, they, I don't know. What would you classify Brudiclad as? It's a being, of course. Brudiclad to the battlefield. So it will, on their upkeep, give them the 1/2 blue mirror token. Or the 2/1 blue mirror token, rather. Nothing else to copy at the moment. But they could easily just make one of their mana rocks copied with something. Brudiclad's a pretty good commander. It's probably good that it costs 6 to cast. Mirror token to the battlefield at the beginning of combat, as it were. Will they attack anyone? The mirror does have haste, and the sad robot can attack. Attacks are declared. Mirror into the Marchesa player, Solemn Simulacrum into us. That's unfortunate, but I guess pity for the Pramikon player. Even though they're sitting at like, I don't know, what is this, like 10 mana now or something? Sorry, they're sitting at 9 mana. My bad on the math. Comes to our turn, we get Molten Primordial. That could be interesting later. Let's go ahead, play a mountain, and get down our commander. I don't want to crack the Myriad Landscape yet. I feel like we're going to be losing too much tempo if I do that right now. I want to curve out into the Warmonger and then the Vandal Blast. And then maybe we'll crack it if we don't need to blow the Blasphemous Act or something similar. Zurzoth good, no counters out of the Brudiclad player, and we'll pass it off. Swamp into play for the Queen Marchesa player. Will they play the Queen? Yep, there she is. Queen Marchesa coming down for that player. They will become the Monarch. Queen Marchesa player having to discard, they discard Gitu Chronicler. No, I didn't see that coming. You know what time it is. It's bonk time. Pramikon does not get the bonk. Plains into play. Still no red mana for Pramikon. Time stretch. Target player takes 2 extra turns after this one. Oh. I'm starting to think it's bound to be Super Friends or something. I mean, Pramikon's not exactly a extra turns type of commander otherwise. I mean, they could do combat, I suppose. Dovin, Hand of Control. I'm going to wager it's Super Friends. So, this one, in particular, says, Artifact, instant, and sorcery spells your opponent's cast cost 1 more to cast, which means our Vandal Blast now costs 6 to overload, and that's irritating, to say the least. It also has -1 to your next turn, prevent all damage that will be dealt to and dealt by target permanent and opponent controls. If they pick Zurzoth, that's fine with me, because I'll be swinging it into Pramikon, no problems. No problems. Reflecting Pool, they finally have a mana source, that might give them red. Nope. That's somewhat ironic. I never did like the lands that say, oh, you get more mana of the kind you already have. It doesn't fix your mana. I'm sure it's generally good, but I was just never a fan. They pass through a turn. They do not activate Dovin either extra turn, so that's pretty good. I think we'll be swinging into Dovin, although that's probably a mistake. They did get the bonk from the Mana Crypt on their last extra turn. Sounds weird to say. Brudiclad's turn. They also get a Mana Crypt trigger. Let's see if they get the bonk in the head. So next turn, Frontier Warmonger, unless we draw something else. I think Fiery Confluence might be good. But It also doesn't deal with enchantments, and we had that problem last game. Other than that, I don't know what else I'd want to play necessarily for. Tome of Legends could be good to drop, though. Mirror Pool into play for the Brudiclad player. So this one does instants and sorceries and artifacts, right? Yeah, well, target creature. If they have artifact creatures, it'll work. Felden of the Third Path. So if you want to know what I look like, picture him younger and with less beard. There you go. Full out attack into Dovin. Okay, I can live with that. The artifact's rebelling against the Artificer. Although I guess that's not technically what he is. Alright, Dovin down. Makes sense. If every artifact has to cost one more, Brudiclad would be in a bad spot most likely. We get Encroaching Waste on our turn. I think that will actually be fairly good for us. Let's go ahead and play that and get it out of the way. And then we'll play the Frontier Warmongers as we ought to do. And I think we'll actually swing into Marchesa just so we can have the extra card draw. I think that'll be good. We do risk getting rid of the Vandal Blast, so maybe we should actually just stay back, because it would really screw up most of the game plans for Brudiclad and Pramikon. Yeah, I think we'll actually sit back. I really want to make sure I keep that Vandal Blast going. So we will just sit. Zurzoth probably not very happy. And pass it off to our opponents. Planes into play for the Queen Marchesa player. Thrawn Dynamo coming down. Starting to wish we were hitting some of our mana rocks. Marchesa passes it off. No activation of the Thrawn Dynamo, that kind of works for me at this point. Mana Crypt triggers, you know how it goes. Pramikon gets the bonk. Talisman of Creativity, red source for Pramikon. Vandal Blast gonna curve out nicely for us, although they will get to cast something. Probably the Pramikon, which is going to be worrisome. That also means Brudiclad, if they attack, will probably be attacking into us, which I find very unfortunate. Pramikon coming down for that player. Who would have guessed? Alright, let's see which direction they pick. I'm thinking they're going to be picking left. Brudiclad, they definitely want to get some heat off of themselves. They only have one card in hand. Chosen direction is left. Who would have guessed? Off to Brudiclad's turn. So as long as they're not goaded, they don't necessarily have to attack us. But I don't think Brudiclad's going to sit idly by and not do anything. Brudiclad gets bonked by the Mana Crypt. Volcanic Island into play for the Brudiclad player. Tapping down to mana. Mirror Pool. Copy of a creature. Okay. Sad Robot getting a friend. He doesn't seem happy about it. Tokens of Sad Robot. More lands into play. An army of sadness imposes itself upon us. We shall block and kill. Since they're going to draw cards after we do Vandal Blast anyway. And none of our guys are going to die as far as I know. Alright, we take 4. 2 of their sad robots die, and they will get 2 cards. Urza, Lord High Artificer. Dear Lord. Alright, we might have to change plans to Blasphemous Act or something. That is stupid. Alright, let's go ahead. What do I want to do? Gotta play a mountain. Blasphemous Act? I don't think I have much of a choice. I really wanted to do Vandal Blast, but Urza will just sit there and stay there and be stupid about things, so let's go to attacks first. I guess we'll get 4 damage in on Queen Marchesa, and that's it. Alright, here's hoping we don't discard the Blasphemous Act. That could be pretty bad if we do. Cross your fingers. We get and discard Runeborn Hellkite. Alright, I'm fine with that. Nobody needs to have any extra cards right now. Destroy target non-black creature. Okay, or you lose the game. Yeah, that's fine. It's just going to die anyway. Alright, Queen Marchesa on the block. That works out. Oh no, not on the block? What are they deciding? Nope, no block. Alright, Frontier Warmonger was a triggered ability, not a static one. Alright, we get the Monarch. That should help out a little bit, at least for the time being. Second main. Let's blow the gaskets, everyone. Zurzoth back into the command zone, if you please. Alright, nothing else to do, but before we pass it off, let's go ahead and crack that Myriad landscape and get some more mountains into play. New shiny mountains. Alright, now we'll pass it off. Be ready for the next turn. Meteor Golem going to be available, but I think we're still going to Vandal Blast. It's going to hurt Queen Marchesa not that much. Brudiclad, unfortunately, is very well positioned for a comeback, but at least Urza's dead, thank the gods. And Pramikon's going to be probably really upset. Slaughter Pack's going to trigger. They pay 2 in black, or they will lose the game. Queen Marchesa pays for the Slaughter Pack trigger. They will not lose the game this turn anyway. Bitter Blossom. There's one of those pesky enchantments. Off to Pramikon's turn. They still only have the one red source. Pramikon easily going to be coming back out. Only one card in hand. They will draw a second one, and the mana crypt triggers. Will they get bonked? Mounted into play. I was really hoping to kind of get stranded on that one artifact with the red, but what can you do? Pramikon into play, they choose left again. Sadness. We can't interact with Pramikon through combat at all. We still have opponents on each side, so it's really bad for us. Queen Marchesa is the only person that can swing into them. They will have, what are these, Death Touchers? No, just flying. Sadness. So, Marchesa not going to be able to do too much, I don't think. Pramikon tapping the rest of their mana, passing it off without using it. Mana Crypt, the triggers, you know what it does, the bonking. Brudiclad dodging like a ninja again. Ethereum Sculptor, that's not fun. But at least he'll get caught up in the Vandal Blast. Gilded Lotus. Yes, keep staying into the blast. Do it. Brudiclad coming back down. So it costs 6, it will end up costing 8. All the mana tapped down for our opponents with blue, so that's nice. White does have a few counter spells, but I don't think anything that can interact with Vandal Blast. If I serve correctly, besides Lapse of Certainty. I don't think they'd be running it, but you never know. Blue mirror into us. We take the 2, nothing to do about it. Trigger, they get to be the Monarch. The last thing I want is Brudiclad to have some card draw, but there's nothing to be done. We get Temple of the False God. Actually, that might work out to our benefit. With it, we can recast our commander quicker. Nothing to play at 3, though, after the fact. But let's go ahead and play Temple of the False God. And we will play our glorious and wondrous Vandal Blast, because reasons. Alright, the field is cleared of all of the, I don't know, bad machines of death. Yeah, something dramatic. Insert here. Alright, there's literally nothing else we can do. Let's go ahead and just pass it off to our opponents, then. Bitter Blossom triggers on the Queen Marchesa player's turn. They'll start getting those very annoying fairies. Well, at least Pramikon will keep them off of us. Really, we just have to deal with Brudiclad, but they have 7 cards in hand. 6 mana, rather, to the battlefield, so at least they can't recast their commander, but they still have a lot they can cast, so it is still problematic. Crypt Gas, they'll get some extra mana. That's never a good thing. Doom Whisperer. And Extort, never good. So Doom Whisperer has the Surveil 2 if you pay 2 life, flying, and trample 6/6 for 5. Not a terrible mythic, not the best one ever, but it's definitely a good card. Up to Pramikon's turn, no more mana bonking triggers. Plains into play for the Pramikon player. Tapping all their mana, still 1 card in hand. What will it be, I wonder? Mana drains from the mana pool, Pramikon still not casting anything. Off to Brudiclad's turn. Mountain into play. Storm the Vault. Uh-oh. That'll be good once they get more artifacts onto the battlefield. On the bright side, we can use Encroaching Waste to encroach upon it. Felwar Stone to the battlefield. So the flip condition for this is, whenever one more creatures deal combat damage to a player that they control, create a treasure token, and then at the beginning of the end step, if you control 5 or more artifacts, transform Storm of the Vault. So they don't even need to actually attack anyone. It's just like an easy super, it flips over. It happens, it's gonna happen. We get Burnish Chart for our turn. That's not helping anything. Let's go ahead and play the Burnish Chart. I don't want to play the Meteor Golem on anything just yet. If Pramikon doesn't quit the game, Marchesa is going to be a boon. If Pramikon does quit the game, we're going to be in some deep voodoo. And I think we'll just pass it off like that. If Queen Marchesa can get into Pramikon for 7 or more damage, we can activate the Spinerock Knoll. Sundial of the Infinite. End the turn. Use it only on your turn. Yeah, so red, white, and red they can technically take infinite turns. You can assemble a combo with Isorcon Scepter, I think, is it Final Fortune? One of them's an instant, red. And then you just take infinite turns for 3 mana a turn. That could be very bad. Very, very bad. But I can't do anything creature-wise to Queen Marchesa right now. So we will have to see. I think Meteor Golem deserves to hit that at this point. Phyllis Broker of Blood, one of my personal favorite black cards. So whenever they lose life, they get to draw a card per life loss, and they can black, pay 2 life, target creature gets -1/-1 until end of turn. So, that's interesting, not the best. Crypt Ghast already on the battlefield. Well, this should be interesting, potentially drawing their whole deck to their hand, or at least until they have something they want. No. Assuming next turn they only drop most of their deck, dump all their creatures in the graveyard, and then use Living Death. that could very easily be a win condition right there, because then you just have to have, I don't know, have the new Pulveros, or leave Anger in the graveyard after a discard or something. I mean, there's a lot of ways. Garner the Blood Flame, for instance, would work. Queen Marchesa easily becoming the most scary player on the field. Still can't attack us, though, so if it's creature-based, it won't work, but infinite turns is a thing. No, hit it with tokens. Go, I need 7 damage. Pramikon takes the damage. 6 is good. Talisman of Conviction coming down for the Pramikon player. Doom Whisper being activated in response, Vilis will trigger. We have a Blasphemous Act out of the Pramikon player. That works for me. Trying to undo my yields. Okay, there we go. Whew. I was gonna say, sometimes you auto-yield at the worst times. Sacrifice the Burnished Heart. We'll go get some lands. Another Doom Whisper response. Vilis will do the things. I think we'll just yield to these triggers until they're done. So let's go ahead and do that. Yield to the end of turn. Unfortunately, Spine Rock Null says damage specifically, not life loss. So using that isn't going to be helpful. 2 mountains into play tapped. And everything goes kablooey. Yay, Pramikon. So they're holding that the whole game just about. Interesting. Pramikon back to the command zone. Off to Brudiclad's turn. 7 cards still in hand for them. Let's see, they currently have 8 mana. Brudiclad could come back down, but it seems like, oh, Pramikon quits. I'm actually kind of surprised they stayed in as long as they did. I'm thankful for it. They just couldn't get anything to draw cards, I suppose. Ancient Tomb into play. Brudiclad up to 10 potential mana. Always wanted an Ancient Tomb, but I've never needed an Ancient Tomb. Brudiclad coming back down. So they'll be up to 3 artifacts after combat. Yeah, I think we'll just leave it. Once it flips over, I mean, we can't respond to them getting all that mana, but we can respond to it by destroying the land after they cast something, so that should be worth it. Although we could just use Meteor Golem. Red and blue cannot get back enchantments. That might be something. Hasty Mirror off into Queen Marchesa. Yay, we're finally not getting poked to death by sad robots and depressed Mirror. Storm the Vault will trigger. Monarch will trigger at the end of Brudiclad's turn. They will get a card. Comes to our turn, we get a mountain. I really don't need any more lands, deck. If you could kindly accompany me to the not land area. Alright, so we could resummon our commander. And maybe use Meteor Golem. I think I don't want to wait. Let's go ahead, resummon Zurzoth. That seems like it could be good. At the very least, we'll have a blocker. And then we will summon the Iron Man Meteor Golem. And blow up the enchantment over there. Storm the Vault. I really, really don't want that hanging around. Artifacts, they can get really far out of hand. Marchesa is still scaring me, but we'll do something about that in a minute. Alright, they're killing our commander. That's fine. Sad face. We will put him back in the command zone. Alright, that's it for our turn. Let's go ahead and pass off to Queen Marchesa. The most bitter of blossoms will trigger, spitting out a fairy token. 10 cards in hand for the Queen Marchesa player. Never a good thing. Brudiclad down to 6. We're only down to 3. So it's not the best. We haven't drawn any of it. Ooh, what is this card? Oath of Lieges. We'll check that out after it resolves. We desperately need some card draw, though. At the beginning of each player's upkeep, that player chooses target player who controls more lands than they do, and is their opponent. The first player may search their library for a basic land card, put that card onto the battlefield, then shuffle their library. So I'm pretty sure we're at the highest land count. I need to double check, though. We are at the highest land count, so that's unfortunate for us. We're also on the back foot, which doesn't help us at all. Demonic Pact. 2 black. At the beginning of your upkeep, choose one that hasn't been chosen. Oh no. Oh no. They're going to give it to somebody. Oh, curse words. Shit, basically. Harmless Offering my butt. Oath of Lieges will begin the triggering. We will not be getting any of the extra land. Okay, so we desperately need card draw. We desperately need... anything. Oblivion Stone. All is dust. Darn these enchantments. Okay, so analyzing what we have right now, which isn't much. Molten Primordial, get their blocker out of the way. Hopefully they don't have any response, although I doubt that they don't. Full attack. We can't kill them. But if Brudiclad does something, maybe we can. For Demonic Pact, they will have to wait a turn or two till they donate it. I imagine they'll at least get the 2 cards off of it before anything happens. That is a lot of mana coming out of Brudiclad. Tempt with Vengeance. So that's the tricky part. They'll just be able to block everything we throw their way, though. We already get 11. We can't do anything about it. So each player will get 11 elementals with haste. And then if we take them up on any offer, they'll get the extras. So that's not good. Not good at all. Glorious End the turn at the beginning of the next end step, you lose the game. If they could shift that off with a blue spell, we'd be in so much trouble. I've seen non-green decks do this a lot. It's one of the strategies non-green can actually do fairly well. Alright, so they ended the turn with Tempt of Vengeance, saving their butt, saving our butt, thankfully. So we could Stronic Resonator and do the Molten Primordial, steal Brudiclad as well, and swing it all into Marchesa. Super dangerous play, but I think we should do it. Stronic Resonator, go! Molten Primordial to the stack. Really underrated card in my opinion. So let's go ahead and activate... we have to put it on the stack first, sorry. We will target the token. Alright, we'll go ahead and grab Brudiclad. And we're off to attacks. Queen Marchesa, I'm sorta sorry. So here our opponent is attempting to make a deal. Unfortunately, I don't necessarily want to take him up on that offer. So that is the problem. Full attack into Queen Marchesa, I do not accept their deal. They could always donate it to them, but things can change, especially if Brudiclad does anything to them. There are no guarantees, and I don't know these people, unfortunately, all random players. Full attack. And they're down to 4. We're going to kill them anyway, but now they're super vulnerable to anything, even their own Demonic Pact. Oath of Liege's Demonic Pact and Bitter Blossom will trigger for the Queen Marchesa player on their turn. A token will come into play, they will lose 1 life, they draw 2 cards, and they do get a land with the Oath. Swamp into play for the Queen Marchesa player. Lots of mana being tapped. I wouldn't be surprised, like Merciless Eviction, Planar Cleansing, anything like that. Exquisite Archangel. If you lose the game, instead exile it and your life total becomes your starting life total. Oh my god. No. Alright, well, we're kind of boned right now. So we can't even hurt them if we want them to stay where they are. We have to figure out a way to destroy or get rid of the angel. Glorious End. They're targeting themselves. They'll get an extra turn. They healed themselves. That's a nice nifty trick. Based on the cards they had played before. I didn't know that they'd have Exquisite Archangel. It's not something I see very often. But I'm glad we didn't take the deal. Let's put it that way. Curse of Opulence being enchanted on the Queen Marchesa player. Queen Marchesa saying they are friends with Brudiclad until I am dead. That's not very nice. I told them they're quasi-immortal. They have no need for friends. Problem is we won't be able to do anything unless we get some card draw. Gear Reach Sanitarium not exactly the best for us at the moment. Vizier of Many Faces. I'm thinking Molten Primordial is going to be a target of that. Oh, it's Meteor Golem. Alright, well, hopefully it's not us. They're targeting the Sundial of the Infinite. That works for me. Looks like despite the deals for Queen Marchesa, Brudiclad and I are not taking the bait. Alright, so there's still that pesky enchantment to deal with. I love mono red. Don't get me wrong. But man, does it need something to deal with enchantments. Not that I'm saying it should. That's obviously a super weakness it needs to have. Unlike blue. That can deal with almost everything. Or green. Mirror token into play at the beginning of combat. Let's see, they also have a Meteor Golem. So that's interesting. I don't think it'll trigger the comes into play ability though. Alright, we have an attack. Full attack into the Queen Marchesa player. Curse of Opulence will trigger. The Brudiclad player will get some treasure. Sorry, it'll get a gold token, my mistake. Fairy tokens on the intercept. They'll be getting Brudiclad and a Hasty Mirror out of the way. Well, at least the Hasty Mirror. Brudiclad's just getting blocked by a gnat. Tokens down, they deal 2 damage. One of the mirrors will die. Monarch. I really want to slap them for that Monarch token. I could use the extra card draw, but I don't want to rouse any aggression. We get Pulveros, God of the Forge. You don't say. Alright, well, let's keep that in our hand for now, not give away anything. I'm thinking our commander this turn, and then swing. Hope we don't exactly totally die. Zurzoth, go! Also, we haven't hit any of the other devils in the deck. I mean, there's not many, but we should have seen like 1. 2 combat. We'll leave the tokens back for attacking, and we'll attack into the Marchesa player for 9 damage. Seems pretty good. Damage is good. Queen Marchesa player back down to 29. Alright, another life loss. Another rogue into play. Demonic Attack deals 4 damage to any target. Brudiclad will be taking it. Okay, so at least we're not going to have to discard Porphyros just yet. Oath of Lieges is going to trigger as well. We still have more lands than everybody, which is awkward to say in mono red. I guess it'd be more awkward to say in mono white. We have a response. Sai is going to sacrifice Brudiclad to draw a card. Back to the command zone with it. Zurzoth will give us a nice little devil. Bolas's Citadel. Oh, crap. So in case you're unfamiliar with the card, 3 black, black, black. You may look at the top card of your library at any time. You may play lands and cast spells from the top of your library. If you cast a spell this way, you pay life equal to its converted mana cost rather than paying its mana cost, and you can sacrifice 10 non-land permanents. Each opponent loses 10 life. So it's practically a win con on a brick, I guess, if you want to look at it that way. That's not... Dang. Not good at all. The question is, will they be able to get stuff and stop us from killing them? That's the most interesting question. Pontiff of Blight. That should be pretty good. That might answer the question right there. They end the turn. Pontiff of Blight was a cast from the hand, so they did not pay any life for it. A new land off the oath for Brudiclad. Command tower coming down. Brudiclad sacking 2 more artifacts to side to draw a card. Looking for an answer to the Bolas's Citadel, I wager. We have a Blasphemous Act. That sucks. We'll put Zurzoth back in the command zone. He will cost 9. And we'll bonk Queen Marchesa, I guess. Sure. Lots of mana being tapped for Brudiclad. What are they following up with? It's Brudiclad. So they'll swing in for 2, I guess. Man, that really I really wish they hadn't Blasphemous acted. That ruins, like, everything we had going. Mirrors on the attack. Both of them into Queen Marchesa. How did they get the second mirror? I must have missed... Oh, the treasure token. Right. I forgot I could also do that. Nice play. Well, for them. I still really wanted my board state, though. 4 damage is good against the Queen Marchesa player. Slowly grinding them back down would have been faster had I had my board state. Okay, I'll stop complaining. Oh, we get an Oath of Liege's trigger? Alright, let's go get a land. At least it'll thin out the deck a little bit. Hopefully we'll be able to get something besides a land. Click. Thank you. Combustible Gear Hulk. That's pretty good. I don't know if they're going to let us do anything with it. But I think that and copy the effect. Let's do it. Alright, we have a trigger. Let's go ahead and choose the Queen Marchesa player. And then I think... let's see. Actually, let's leave red up for that. Copy the ability. And we will choose the Brudiclad player for the copy, I think. Since they blew up my field. Alright, let's see what they choose for us. They could be taking a lot of damage. We get Spine Rock Dole activated. That's cool. Okay, so we get a Mountain Reforged the Soul and Sin Prodder. Let's see what Queen Marchesa chooses. Okay, so... and like every mana rock in existence comes out for us. Okay. Sure, why not? Play a land for the turn. Let's see. We have 1, 2, 5, so that's 7, 8 mana. Nobody took the damage. So how we want to do this? I don't necessarily want to drop everything. Reforge the Soul would actually be pretty bad right now, I think. We'll wait till next turn maybe if we do it. Let's go ahead and play Pulveros, though. Get that out of the way. Then we'll play the Arcane Signet. Then we'll play Sin Prodder, which is card draw light. Pulveros trigger. You know what it does. And we'll pass it off to our opponents. Probably just became super scary to either one of them. But we'll see. I think we have... because now we can discard 2 cards, too, so that's really good. So then they'll just donate it during their turn to one of us and we lose the game on the upkeep. So it really depends. I'm thinking we're the ones going to be taking the Demonic Pact. Going to be very Gideon of us. We'll discard 2 cards. That's fine. Discard the Mana Rocks. Platinum Angel. Man, they just won't die. Bloodstained Mire into play and cracked for the Queen Marchesa player. Blind Obedience. Well, that's not good. Chance for Glory. That's that new Boros card. Well, newer. 1 red white instant. Creatures you control gain indestructible. Take an extra turn after this one. At the beginning of that turn's end step, you lose the game. Now they don't even have to make a response out of it. Queen Marchesa player will just be able to do whatever they want, take an extra turn, pass it off. Platinum Angel will keep them from losing the game. The triggers. Demonic Pact will happen, but they won't lose the game. I guess they couldn't donate it. So that's interesting. I wonder if they'll donate in response to the trigger, though. That could be something they do. I don't know how that would work. Does the trigger just go with the card, or does it stay with the player? Cabal Stronghold into play. That means eventually an Uberg, which also eventually means tons of black mana. All they really need is a Tormentor and Exsanguinate, and that will end the game. Boring, but it's, you know, you win. I suppose it could be Debt to the Deathless as well. Seems like it could be. Yeah, Debt to the Deathless. There we go, we lose double X, so let's go ahead and see what X is. If we do some quick math here, it looks like it's going to be 15. So that's 30. Wait, I'm confused. Where did Debt to the Deathless not work? Resolute Archangel into play, their starting life total becomes their life total. Again. Also, the Debt to the Deathless didn't work because they forgot to put mana into X for some reason. So, whew, lucky break. Axes of Morality, that's not good. They'll be able to switch life totals with somebody. So we basically have to build up a board state and just kill them in one go. Although, actually, they can just use Nicol Bolas' Citadel on the upkeep, or on this turn, cast a bunch of stuff, be at 0, risk Platinum Angel, and then switch it on their upkeep to kill one of us too. Interesting. Kind of reminds me of a Selenia deck. That was a close brush with death. Queen Marchesa not giving up. I applaud their tenacity. Platinum Angel into the Brudiclad player. Fairy Rogue into us. Queen Marchesa Monarch again. 2 damage is good. Or sorry, 1 damage to us is good. 4 damage over to the Brudiclad player is good. Chance for Glory triggers again. They will not lose the game, and they will get to draw a card. Asking Brudiclad if they have anything to deal with this kind of stuff. I doubt that they have too much. I mean, Cyclonic Rift would probably work. I also don't want to kill them with Pulveros, if I can help it. Because I was basically asking if I should wheel. Henwar Garrison coming down for the Brudiclad player. Queen Marchesa player laughing maniacally in chat. Quasi-duplicate, create a copy of a target creature you control. So they'll get the Hanwar guys, they're going to make even more tokens. Off to combat, Brudiclad will trigger. So I'll imagine they'll copy the Garrison guys. Probably swing into us, I'm not entirely sure. All attacks into Queen Marchesa, tons of triggers. So they'll get 6 1/1 tokens that are red humans, and they'll get a treasure token. If Brudiclad is left undisturbed, eventually they will be able to deal enough damage to Marchesa to kill them outright. We just have to get rid of the Platinum Angel after their life total is below 0 in response to anything they might do to heal themselves. That's why I'm hoping for a Chaos Warp. Although, Chaos Warping back into Platinum Angel would kind of suck. Hilarious, but terrible. Alright, lots of red glowy cards into the red zone. Queen Marchesa, will they block anything? I doubt that they'd even do so. They can just switch the life total afterward. They've already hinted at that. So we do have to have some kind of response to that life total switch. Or them healing, or them potentially living off another Platinum Angel. So that is the problem. Chaos Warp would fix most of that. Trigger, 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 trigger. End of turn. Monarch will trigger for the Brudiclad player. Oath of Allegiance triggers for us. We'll go get a nice shiny land out of it. Sin Prodder will trigger. So let's see what we get. So in case you're unaware, Sin Prodder has Menace. At the beginning of your upkeep, reveal the top card of your library. Any opponent may have that. You put that card into the graveyard. If they do, deals damage to that player equal to the card CMC. Otherwise, you put that card into your hand. Looks like we get Hammer of Porphyros. That might actually be super good later. Let's go ahead and play it. And then we'll get down our mountain and play Reforge the Soul. Sorry to Brudiclad if he has anything in there. I did try to communicate with them. Alright, Brudiclad might welcome this then. They can only make lots of tokens. So Reforge the Soul, go! Alright, so we get Grenzo, Geth's Grimoire. Interesting. Tome of Legends, Mikokoro, Mountain, Skull Clamp, and Thematic Compass. Grenzo's probably the best of the batch at the moment. I also don't want to play too much into Porphyros, so we'll play Grenzo. See what that does. Then we will play Geth's Grimoire. Thematic Compass, it'll flip over to the land. Maybe save our bacon later when I'll get it down. Do we want to play Skull Clamp? I think we do. We have Mikokoro now, so I don't really care about Gear Reach. And I don't necessarily want to give too many people too many extra cards. We'll go ahead and equip that to Grenzo. He's going to be a nice, soft, easy target. Get some extra cards out of it, maybe. And let's go to attacks. I think we'll just attack with Porphyros at this point. They don't have mana up for Path to Exile or any of that stuff. So we'll just attack with it. I don't want to get them too low in case they do want to switch life totals on the upkeep. So that'll be something. Grenzo will trigger. Let's go ahead. Nobody has flyers, unfortunately. Otherwise, I would goad the Platinum Angel into an attack. So let's go ahead and exile the top card of their library. Hopefully get rid of something very cool. Final Fortune. Yeah, we can get rid of that. That works for me. So that's the instant one that goes with the Isochron Scepter, in case you were wondering. Please don't use that against your friends. Queen Marchesa was like, you should cast it. I was like, I don't want to lose. Alright, so they'll probably switch with us. We don't have any flyers and we'll be taking half the damage. That'd put us on 2 turns, basically. Yep, looks like we're going down to 18. Urborg Tomb of Yawgmoth, there it is. So the Cryptcast is gone, thank the gods. But they also now have tons and tons and tons of black mana. So they could still have Exsanguinate, they could still have, what's the card? Torment of Hellfire, and like anything else. They could also do one-shot stuff. Aria of Flame. I haven't ever seen that card used before. This is interesting. False Curse. Oh, until end of turn, whenever a player gains life, they lose 2 life. Well, that's game 20. Nicely done. Nicely done. I have to say, this is probably one of the more interesting Queen Marchesa decks I've ever played against. I have to go clap. I had to say I love the deck. I mean, this is just fantastic. Just fantastic. So, Aria of Flame. I guess I'll have to look more into that. That's pretty interesting. Oh, we're still alive somehow. I totally thought that would get us. How did it not get us? We gained 10 life, should have lost 20, right? Oh, it's because it did damage after they cast it. Okay. So we're actually still alive. Twice I thought already we'd be dead. Still love the deck, though. Gray Merchant. Straight up. That'll do it. Alright, I've been wrong before, though. Are we actually dead this time? False Cure's gonna trigger again. So that won't really do anything for them, though. But, yeah, it looks like this is it. Good game. Good game to our opponent, specifically Queen Marchesa. Again, that's one of the more interesting decks I've seen for her, so this is totally great. As far as that, I had fun. Zurzoth didn't have to do too much, unfortunately. But Pramikon, I partially blame for that. Sometimes there's just a foil to your plan, and that's how it goes. Not every deck can beat everything. Alright, let's reveal our hand as we do and go look over the deck a bit. Heliod's Generosity, Gain of the Trial's last chance, so I still had another extra turn spell. That was fun. Alright, so here's the deck. I did do a lot of changes to it, trying to make it better and stuff. Greth's Grimoire, when it works, is totally fine. Usually it does work too, so I'm not too mad with it. Combustible Gearhulk, newer. I put in Porphyros Bronze Blood to get some extra haste. Urabrask, that's not a, budget card, Urabrask. Porphyros is actually pretty cheap though, comparatively. Breath of Fury I was toying with. I would actually take it out of the deck. It's really hard to get that going, and it can't be... So far, I haven't been able to sustain it, basically. We can attack, but you have to get through with the Dolmen Gate. That's over here, and basically you can't, because it has to connect. So that's probably not something that's going to work. So Breath of Fury, probably take that out. Other than that, let's see. I don't think I changed too much else. I did add some other... I think I added the Worn Power Stone, because we just weren't ramping, and at this point we didn't get any of the ramp anyway. So here's the deck. As always, I will put the link to the list as it currently stands in the description below to tappedout.net. Go ahead, feel free to check that out, offer some suggestions. Maybe we'll revisit any of all of the commanders I ever play in the future. There's been some really popular ones, and I kind of want to give them a more light of day if there's ever some downtime in between releases. And overall, I think the deck's doing better. I did, again, add more of the general removal, all is dust. I did add the Oblivion Stone. Oblivion Stone is actually cheaper right now. It's between $2 and $4. Maybe pick one of those up for your collection. If you saw anything in the video you want to pick up, feel free to use that TCG Player affiliate link below and help out the channel. Other than that, I hope you enjoyed the game, and I'll see you on the next one for our next series. Thank you for coming to Durdle with us today. Hit that subscribe button and go ahead and hit that notification bell so you're always up to date with our latest videos. Please leave a like and share the video with somebody who you might think is interested. We also post links to our videos on Facebook and Twitter at DurdleMTG. If those are the forums you choose to use, please check us out there. Until we can Durdle with some magic again, see you around.